Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Baseball family, welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. My name is Brad, and I'm actually going to be flying solo this week. Brig is out. He's day to day. We're not putting him on the IL. We do expect him to be back at full strength next week. And you can actually catch him this week. If you prefer Brig over me, don't worry. You can catch him later this week on Friday. We actually have a previously recorded episode with Dan Watson from Pillbox Bats. Great conversation, a lot of fun. Be sure to tune in on Friday to check that out. But just me this week for the news segment. Before I get into anything too big, I just want to remind you about Chinook seeds. One of our favorite things to talk about around here and to eat, really, is sunflower seeds. And Chinook Seedery, those are our favorite. Head over to ChinookSeedery.com. You can use code BTPOD at checkout to save 10% off your order. And while you're at it, you will support the show while supporting your mouth and your wallet. My favorite flavor this week, I get a flavor of the week. I bounce around all the time. I love jalapeno ranch this week. Brig is always all about Parmesan and pepper. This week, I'm on jalapeno ranch. But you can get smokehouse barbecue, hatch chili, dill pickle, lemon pepper, smokehouse barbecue. They have original, which is lightly salted and fantastic, or cinnamon toast, which is also very, very good. So again, that's ChinookSeedery.com. Use code BTPOD at checkout. Save 10% off your order while supporting the show. Okay, let's get into this. Here we go. Let's talk about the ABS challenge system, because this is really cool. It's the automated ball strike system. It's here for spring training. Not quite here for the season yet. We'll get into that in a little bit. But before I get too far into this, I want to know what you think about this. I'm curious what baseball fans think about the ABS system. Drop a comment down below, or send an email to baseballtogetherpod at gmail.com. That comes straight to me, so I will see it if you send me an email. That's baseballtogetherpod at gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you think about the ABS system, because I'm really, really curious about what people think. Now, I'll share my opinion with it. I think you already know if you've been listening for a little while. But if you don't know, this is how it works. So it's being tested. It's being used in 13 ballparks. That covers 19 teams across the league. I can tell you right now, Angels fans, it's not being used in Tempe. I was at a game in Tempe over the weekend, and Victor Robles for the Mariners thought he kind of got jobbed on a called third strike, tapped his helmet to signal it, and they're just like, we don't have it. Strike three, you're out. He's like, ah. So they don't have it. And that's actually how it works. If somebody wants to challenge a call, it can only be the batter, the catcher, and the pitcher who can challenge the calls. And if you want to challenge something, tap your head, tap your helmet, tap your hat if you're the pitcher, and that's the signal to let the umpire know that you want to challenge. Each team gets 2 challenges, which means if you win your challenge, you get to keep it. If you lose your challenge, you lose the challenge, right? So this basically means you get 2 incorrect challenges per game, because if you keep winning challenges, you could have 10 to 15 challenges a game, I guess, if you keep getting them right? So I don't see that happening, but theoretically, that's how it could work. So this is how the actual ABS system works. I've seen a lot of people break this down. If you haven't seen it, I'll do it for you. So the strike zone width remains 17 inches. 17 inches is how wide home plate is. That remains the zone. The depth. This is one thing we don't get. We didn't have that box, right, on the TV, which I believe, from what I'm understanding, is going away this year, because they don't want that on in the dugout or in the clubhouse or anything like that to influence challenges. Because yes, the batter, catcher, or pitcher are the only ones who can challenge, and you only have a couple seconds to challenge a call, but you don't want that to influence anything later in the game if it's a problem. So that could be going away from broadcasts. Keep an eye on that. But it's taken into account the depth, 17 inches of home plate, right? So if a ball starts outside and then clips that back corner, a curveball clips that back corner as it's breaking back in, it's still a strike because it got part of the plate. You don't get that on the box on the TV. So something to keep in mind. Now, the height of the zone. This is what gets a lot of people because, again, with the box, it's the same size box for everybody. It's the same size box for Aaron Judge as it is for Jose Altuve. That's been the question all along. They've accounted for this. The bottom of the zone is 27% of the batter's height. The top of the zone is 53.5% of the batter's height. This is according to MLB.com. So what they've done is they've gone through and they've gotten everybody's official height. They put it into the system, and then the system goes based on who's batting and calculates the zone. So crossing their T's, dotting their I's with everything here. I almost said crossing their I's and dotting their T's. But anyway, so they're thorough. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I love the way that they're doing that. That it's not just going to be the same for everybody, right? Jose Altuve is not getting strikes called up to his shoulders because he's going off Aaron Judge's zone in the same game. It's fantastic. So this has been tested the last 2 seasons in AAA, and I think it's going well. I was at a fall league game in November this year, and there was a call that looked it was a strike call that looked questionable. I think it was a little low, and you actually heard guys yelling from the dugout, "Challenge, challenge, challenge!" And the batter turned back and tapped his head, and it was quick enough that it was okay. They challenged it. They actually overturned it. It was a ball, and it was fast. It was really quick. So it was really cool. I liked the way that it went. During that time that it's been tested in AAA, it's added an average of 17 seconds per game. So this is not going to be like the quote-unquote instant replay, right? Because instant replay is not instant. It takes forever. It takes so long sometimes for them to look at it like, well, I don't know, it's close. I think that replay review, 45 seconds. If you don't have indisputable evidence after 45 seconds, the call stands, right? It's taken way too long to review some of these calls. So it takes just a few seconds. It's like a tennis review. So fast. It's so great. And they're not going to be in Major League. It's not going to be Major League Baseball in 2025. But I think everybody's assuming that it will be in 2026. And guess what? It already has a sponsor. That's right. You guessed it, T-Mobile. So I'm excited for this. I think it's great. I think it's going to be a great way to help umpires see the zone. And I understand, right? Like the argument this whole time has been, well, it's the human element. The umpire establishes the strike zone. Well, not really. I mean, kind of, yes. But the rule states, what is it? The hollow of the below the kneecap, and then midway between the belt and the armpits or something like that is the language. Like that's the zone. It's not, well, maybe it's up above his letters, maybe it's a little bit low, maybe it is his belt, right? There is an established strike zone, and this is what's going to make sure that everybody's enforcing the same strike zone and that everybody's playing on the same field from day to day, because that, as a hitter, that's one of the most frustrating things. It's like, golly, this guy's calling everything off the plate. Well, hopefully this will help fix some of that. I did think it was interesting. Terry Francona had something to tell his players. Remember, he's managing the Reds now. So this is one of the things he said. He told his veteran hitters, we're not using it in the regular season, so why work on a strategy we're not going to use? It muddies the waters. This is according to The Athletic. And so he's not even like worried about it this year, right? Like I think what he's going to do is he's going to have his younger guys who have been using it in the minor leagues, like, go ahead and challenge, you're used to using it, right? Whatever. No big deal. But right now, if you've been around the league for a little while, we'll worry about it next year. For now, see the ball, hit the ball, I think is what he's saying there. And, maybe it is like get used to challenging or things like that, but it's a good point, right? Like, why kill yourself putting together a strategy for when you're gonna challenge a call during spring training, because A, the games don't matter, and B, the rules are made up. So I guess something like that. So anyway, okay, that's the ABS system. I'm really curious what everybody thinks about this, because I think it's a great system. I think it's going to be great for baseball. It's a great way to help hitters adjust, all right, not adjust, but confirm their beliefs, or their belief of the strike zone, or adjust. It's going to make for better hitters. Guys are going to have a better eye. It's going to make for better pitchers because guys are going to hit the zone, are going to be required to hit the zone, right? So I think it makes for better umpires too. I think everybody will be better in the end because of it, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I know catchers don't have to frame because of it, aren't going to have to frame as much because of it, but because it's a challenge system, catchers will still have to frame. So don't worry. All right. So I mentioned I was at a game this weekend. Spring training games have begun, and it is very exciting. A quick PSA, just a reminder for everyone, your team's performance during spring training is not a direct reflection of their regular season performance. So take a deep breath. If your team has not won a game or scored very many runs so far, there's a chance, throwing minor league pitchers, giving minor leaguers a chance to hit this early. It's been like 4 days, okay? It's fine. It's going to be fine, okay? The long season, spring training is just getting ready for it. Just a reminder. Okay. So I love spring training. I live in Arizona. I live in the Phoenix area. It's fantastic. Every year we go to the backfields 2-3 times. We've already been once. We went as soon as, I'm a Mariners fan. We went as soon as the Mariners reported. Like we were there like the next day, and we got some swag and we got to meet some players, and it was really cool. My son is, at this point, he's 10. He's a veteran at chasing down players and getting a baseball signed. He's been doing, we've been going to spring training now since he was, he was 5. I think the first time we went, 4 or 5, and he loves it just as much as I do. It's a good time. If you have not done it, go to Arizona, go to Florida, and if you have the means, I suggest you go make the trip. The backfields, like it's fun to go to a game and everything because it's getting back into it. It's been a long winter without baseball. A lot of people live where it's cold. I'm fortunate enough to live where it's been pretty nice. You know, Arizona's really nice in the winter. That's why we live here, right? It's the weather during the winter. But so it's nice to go to the games. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to several more games this year, but the backfields are the real experience. I know some places are a little more locked down. You don't have as much access to players and things like that. I know off the top of my head, the White Sox, at least in 2023, it's 2025. In 2024, you didn't have a whole lot of access to players. You could get them when they were coming back off the fields. You could watch a little bit of batting practice, but you couldn't really intermingle with them. The Dodgers was a little more open. We got to watch Yoshinobu Yamamoto throw his first live bullpen. So that was cool. We were just sitting in the seats behind the backstop there. That was really cool. So there's a little more access there, but not quite as much. The place to go, though, if you want to get up close with players, is Peoria. The Seattle Mariners facility, they have spots blocked off, but there are spots where the players will just walk among the people. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And we took my son and his friend had never been. He's lived here his whole life. He'd never been. And he's just walking right there. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, man. Go have him sign your baseball. And so they track guys down. They have them sign their baseball, and it's a lot of fun. It's really, really cool. It is the spring training experience. I believe Surprise has a similar setup. So if you're coming for spring training to Arizona or Florida, hit the backfields because that is the quintessential spring training experience that you are not going to get anywhere else. It's great. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's been going on, though. Like I said, we went to a game on Saturday. It was a great place to be. There were some weird things that happened at that game. There are some weird things that happened to other games across the league. There's one thing in particular I want to talk about. And again, this is not... I don't want Rockies fans to panic and be like, this is just a microcosm of what our season's going to be like. It very well could be because the Rockies probably won't be very good this year again. But it's just weird things happen in spring training, and this happens to be one of them. So a lot of times teams will play their very first spring training game against the team that they share a facility with. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies share a facility at Salt River Flats, Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, out in the Scottsdale area. And so this was a crazy play that happened. Ketel Marte gets up with the bases loaded, and he sends a fly ball deep to center field, deepest part of the park. You can see the wall there if you're watching. It says 410. Center fielder catches it on the track. Runner tags from third, jogs in. Whoever was on second, I didn't see. Hustles, gets all the way around, but then the ball bounces off the backstop, caroms to the right side toward first base, and the runner from first comes around to score because looked like he was planning on just standing at third, but then the ball took that wacky bounce off the backstop, shot towards first base, and well, base is cleared. So weird things happen in spring training. I saw some really, really weird things happen in the game that I was at in Tempe. That's just the way it goes, especially this early. It takes a little bit to get the physical back, right? Get the physical back, get the mental back. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun to see some weird stuff happen on the field this weekend. And guess what? You can laugh at it, you can celebrate it because it doesn't matter. It's fake baseball, and we love it. We love it because that means baseball is back. I wanted to save this for Brig, but we have to talk about it right now. The Yankees have changed their facial hair policy. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Me, like this, I would still not be able to play for the Yankees, I don't believe. Okay, we'll get there. Actually, we'll get there right here, right now. The new policy allows well-groomed beards. Right now, I would not call my beard well-groomed. It is a little untamed, a little wild, but I don't think that Hal Steinbrenner's policy is going to allow just cleaning up the edges a little bit and making it a little bit more trim. I'm guessing you got to take it down to about a 2, right? This is exactly what Hal Steinbrenner said. He said, after great consideration, we will be amending our expectation to allow our players and ununiformed personnel to have well-groomed beards moving forward. Good for them. I'll share my thoughts in just a minute. I texted Brig because I knew he wasn't going to be on tonight, so I said, I want to know what you think about this. So he's our resident Yankee fan, and this is what he had to say. He said, I'm disgusted with the break from tradition on behalf of my purest half. Okay. I'm pumped for what it means for the free agent market, though it can't be that important. Either you want to be a Yankee or you don't. I believe it may just be the thing this team needs to get rough with themselves by being rough around the edges. George is livid. He's probably right about that. My gut says this could fall flat and ultimately be chalked up to placating. Another pat on the head to pacify an already frustrated fan base, hoping radical, seemingly superficial changes will bleed deeply into the culture, but we need something, and if this ends up being it, I'll take the gamble. But how long will we let it ride if it's a bust? If it's gimmick, it better work. Otherwise, it's a betrayal at some level for many fans. Now, for me, as somebody who's had a beard for 13 years, just about, like solid. First, my kids have never seen me without a beard. So that's how long I've got a 10, almost 11-year-old. So that's how long I've had a beard. I understand perfectly understand players being hesitant to sign somewhere where they have to shave. Because even when there are times, like if you're not watching, my beard is probably 7 inches off my chin right now, down onto my chest. There are times where I just get sick of the length and I cut it down. I shave it down to about a 2, which I think is like a 1/2 inch. So it's still there, but it's short. Even that makes me feel naked. Okay? I have had times where I grew a beard out for just a few months and then had to shave it all the way off. This was before I let it grow entirely. This was before the 13 years. Where I'd grow the beard for a couple months, then have to shave it off. And you feel naked. It feels weird. Like it feels really weird feeling the breeze against your face again. And I can understand, guys, you get comfortable with that, especially if you're a pitcher. You get comfortable with the way you feel on the mound, and then all of a sudden, like, you've got to get rid of that. You've got to adjust. Like, I understand it. I totally understand it. And this was something that one of my friends told me. When he first grew his beard out, he started growing his beard out before me. And he said it was like a social shield for him. And I could see some players, like, it's a social shield for them. But this is what my buddy told me. He said that when he has a beard, people see him as the bearded guy and not the big guy. Right? And so there might be something that a pitcher or a player feels a little self-conscious about in their game. I don't know. These guys are all super confident, but that could just be their on-field persona, that maybe they feel more comfortable with a beard socially than without one. I don't know. That's just, I'm throwing that out there as something that I know from experience and talking to people who have them. But let me be someone who welcomes the Yankees to the 21st century, because it's about time. It's about time they got with it, because I mean, I can understand being like, okay, Brandon Marsh, clean up your beard a little bit, cut your hair, you hippie. But at the same time, they'll like, let him have it. Let him have the beard. That's just the way things are these days. Beards are on trend, and they're socially acceptable. So it's fine. One more Yankees thing before we go. The Yankees will no longer be playing New York, New York by Frank Sinatra after losses. I'm going to chalk this one up to Brig. Brig's been calling for this for a while. It's like, you don't want to spread the news when you lose. So instead, they're going to be playing a rotation of songs they're going to go through, and one of them happens to be That's Life, and Brig actually texted me this after that whole thing about the beards, and he said That's Life is the perfect song to be playing after a loss, because it is life. That's the nature of baseball. It's just the way it's going to go. You're not going to win every game. There's way too many of them, and everybody's going to lose. Everybody's going to get blown out at some point, right? Everybody's going to get blown out, and everybody's going to do the blowing out. That's baseball, Susan, right? So I think this is good. I think it makes a whole lot more sense. You don't necessarily want to be walking out of a loss sounding like the team's celebrating a win, because it's kind of a bad look, kind of a bad feel. So anyway, all right, the last thing I want to do before I get out of here is I was really hoping Brig was going to be here for this, but he's not able to make it tonight, so I just want to talk a little bit about it. This is our 300th episode, and I want to thank you on behalf of me. Like, personally, I want to thank everyone listening, and I know I can thank you on behalf of Brig as well, because we've talked about this, that if the listens completely went away and all the YouTube views died off and things like that, we would not still be doing this. It's fun for us even if nobody's listening, but it's more fun when people are listening and watching and engaging, and we really appreciate everybody doing it along the way, because it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really great ride, and thank you so much for joining us for 300 episodes. With this new format, the way that we're doing things, we are going to hit episode 400 and 500 a lot sooner than what we initially would have, but we want to celebrate 300. So we're going to do a little bit of stuff next week with Brig that we had already planned on doing this week. But I mean, one thing that I can tell you right now off the top of my head that happened between episodes 2 and 300 is we hit 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you so much. That's a major milestone, a major mile marker on YouTube for having features unlocked and things like that. And we really appreciate the support and the just listening and viewing along the way. We really do, and the interaction has been a lot, mostly fun. I'll be honest, there are times where I misspeak or I don't say things exactly how I mean them, and people on especially TikTok let me know. But I would say for the most part though, this has been a whole lot of fun, and we're looking to continue to go for the long run on this whole thing. So here's to 300, and hopefully at least another 300 down the road. But before I go, I want to remind you about SeedSack. I love SeedSack so much. Go ahead to seed-sack.com. You can get yourself a seed sack. Talk about Chinook seeds. Get yourself a seed sack to hold those in. The 1.5 ounce pouches fit perfectly in a seed sack. It's a little canvas sack with a self-closing clasp. All you do is pinch it, it'll open, let go, it'll close, put them in your pocket. My son puts his in his back pocket while he's playing baseball, and he thinks it's just the best thing. We've had to set up rules for when he can put seeds in his mouth. No seeds when you're at the plate, only a couple when you're on deck, so you can spit them out before you head up to the plate, and don't put them in your mouth while there's a batter at the plate, because it takes too long, because you get caught with your glove off or your hand on your seed sack. So so we've had to set up rules. But head to seed-sack.com, use code baseball2gether. That's baseball together, and save 5% off your seed sack. There's always a link down in the description, just like there's always money in the banana stand. A baseball family, be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and review everywhere that you can. Thank you so much for joining us for 300 episodes. We will catch you later this week.